Hello and welcome to this week's COVID saving snow tips. It feels less like I'm doing themes each week and more like I'm doing an update on what's going on each time. The last couple of weeks it's been vaccines. This week we're going to start with the good news that the quarantine has dropped. We've come down from a 2-week quarantine to just a 1-week quarantine with the test after 5 days. And that is really big news. It starts to open up the half-term weeks potentially, but I'm thinking definitely the Easter weeks. The tests are going to cost between £65 and £120 to perform as well. Okay, the bad news this week is the announcements from the French government that all of the ski resorts in France will close until the middle of January. Now, how's that going to affect everyone else? Italy are under pressure. The Prime Minister's urged people not to head to the mountains. Nothing actually preventing the resorts from opening yet. Austrian resorts are still closed. Germany are saying that they want an EU directive that forces all member nations to close their ski resorts, which leaves Switzerland out as the only rogue, as an ECC member but not an EU member. They will not be forced to adhere to the same rules if everyone else closes down. But the way Swiss hospital beds are closing up at the moment, I think that they'd be fools not to join that directive. We will see. There's also Andorra. Don't forget about that one. It'd be interesting to see what happens there. The resorts aren't happy about this at all, as you can imagine. Teen have made their feelings very, very public. Over 350 resorts in France that employ over 120,000 workers, and the industry is really going to hurt if they lose two of the biggest holidays of the year in Christmas and New Year. So in the short term, undoubtedly, it is looking bleak. But the theme of this week's show is Easter is the time to go. And I think long term, that quarantine news and the news about the vaccine means that for the end of the season especially, there is hope. Anyone who watches these regularly will know that I'm a massive advocate of going later in the season. I think you get warmer temperatures, you get that lovely risk-averse slush, and you get the odd bonus powder day as well. And plus, in the current climate, it means as it gets warmer, you're less likely to get rammed into really close proximity with other people once the storms hit and you go into restaurants. You're going to be able to space out and sit outside in warmer temperatures. So right now, I think going on April the 2nd, Good Friday, making the most. If you leave then you might be skiing by Saturday afternoon on the 3rd. You'll get that week, you'll have the 2 bank holidays that you can use there, and then you'll quarantine through the 2nd week of the holidays. So I think Easter right now is a really good option. I think in terms of what you can do, you probably don't want to book your flights right now. I think if you go a flexi fare on the Eurotunnel, it could work. But in terms of flights, the FCO advice is nothing but essential travel. So your insurance is not going to be valid if you book those. So you're going to have to wait. You can book ski hire. I've been banging on about Intersport's refund up to the last minute policy, but this week they also introduced a virtual queuing system, which means you'll get notified on your phone when your spot is available in the shop. So totally risk-free ski hire with them. In terms of ski lessons, you can, I'd start looking into those now as well, because if it does open up, it is going to be Ramadan up there. So you're going to need to be able to avoid, you're going to want to have some of those resort facilities locked in. So get your lessons booked in, but make sure you've got that cancellation policy figured out. In terms of accommodation, I've talked previously about resorts who are offering full refunds if you book directly through the resort. But I've heard stories now, and people have mentioned it in comments, that if you're on Airbnb or Home Away, you can negotiate the cancellation fees with those individual owners. So find something you like, go out there and get that booked in. One thing worth bearing in mind though, if you love a little bit of risk, Crystal are offering some crazy deals with full refunds for January. So if you fancy doing some window shopping, go and look at that. And if you're super risk averse, but you want to know that there's something on the horizon snow-wise, Crystal have also already started offering 2022 ski holidays. So definitely worth going there and giving that a check. We've talked about the Eurotunnel, but if you want more information on how to get there, you can go and check out one of the earlier episodes, and it will give you all of the details on driving out to the Alps. Then the final one, I'm not going to end on a downer, but Brexit has put a little bit of a dampener on things this week. There have been some big articles that have come out, just signposting what it means for British workers in the snow industry. I've put a link to that article down there, and if you've ever done a season and it's affected your life for the better, it certainly did mine. I wrote a piece on this Facebook page this week just stating that it gave me my friends, my family, my love of the natural world, and arguably my career. So I owe a huge amount to being able to work seasonally. If you think that the next generations deserve those same opportunities, then please find that link and sign that. But right now, the quarantine levels have dropped and the vaccines are charging ahead. So fingers crossed, we'll be there for Easter. As always, put anything you want in the comments. I love seeing your experiences, your advice and your expertise, populating that. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week.